stand for the pledge of allegiance, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to number 3, we've had a chance to look at the agenda. Any changes, or do we need to amend it at all? Otherwise, we need a motion to approve it.
I will make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to number 4, alderman interviews if needed. I don't believe we have anyone here tonight, so we'll move on to number 5, approve minutes of January 16th, 2024 meetings.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 16th, 2024 minutes.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to public input.
I have public input. Some of you know, I filed a thing with the legislative auditor for a forensic audit. He's not overly supportive. What the options for the city can do, is to send a petition around and get a petition signed, but it may cost money. Now, with that said, there was a bond involved on that individual, and the city could recover by filing for a payment from that bond for the amount that we lost, that the city lost through the failure to file publish the bids that we lost, somewhere around $60,000 that we had to pay extra for a rebid. We could file for that, reimbursement from that bond. The other thing is if it costs for a forensic audit, which I think would be very, very wise given what I've seen from the FOIA that I've got and some of the things I'm hearing that have been verified, that somewhere in the neighborhood of $40,000. And it's my understanding for a second-class community such as I believe Elster still is, that's a $150,000 bond. We are still within the terms of the bond veracity for that. So I would ask that you guys consider that and file a claim for that so that you can get a forensic audit, so that you know, so you don't have a thing. You didn't have a thing like Westfield, which you set the place on fire. But I would, yeah, I would like to see that and start out with a clean slate to know where the records are. And I have spoken, the records can be put into a security place. The school uses, the state of South Dakota has where you can store records storage. And the school does, their name is on the list where the only thing the city has to do is to digitize the records, and then we put them out for pickup, and the state will come by and pick it up and take it back to the record storage. I would verify that to make sure that I've got my information right too. But I don't know how much it costs, but it would be something to look into. That way, you've got it out of harm's way. Should something happen, that you've got a historical record and things that you need to know, that you need to keep on file for archival purposes. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also have a couple of points of public input regarding the police department. A couple of my concerns was the fact that I understand that there was a little bit of urgency with needing to kind of go through with the contract with the county and looking through that. But I feel like the public didn't get much of a chance to discuss anything relating to that, so that the public's mind could be put at ease to anything pertaining to that. You know, all I got to know about it at first was the first thing I heard about it was that the police department was shutting down on the 19th. That was all I heard about it at the beginning, and my biggest concern was that, you know, there was no place, nowhere else in there where it was given any kind of discussion apart from executive session and then voted on further. I feel the city should have had some sort of input on that, because it would have greatly impacted, or it will greatly impact, the school system. And not only that, but just 2 to 3 weeks prior, there was a school shooting, you know, not too far from where we call home here in Iowa, where unfortunately a few people, you know, at least one person that I know of for certain lost their lives. And not having somebody here, you know, could mean that more lives, if it were to happen here, more lives could be lost in response times. And that's something that I feel the council should kind of weigh on too, but I think that it's a good idea for the council to give the community some sort of discussion or something, you know, something going out publicly about what's going on with that. Because I feel like they should know. Me being within a mile of Alcester would mean I would be in the jurisdiction of the city officers anyways, you know, while also being under the county. And I have that coverage that way, but it's also the response time of being so close to the city limits of Alcester that concerns too. That's why, you know, I can't stress enough, it's like there should be some sort of mention and discussion for the city, because I'm sure the school system would have something they want to say on that to protect their interests and the kids that go to school there, you know, as well as the teachers and anybody else that has to do anything else with that, as well as the ambulance service. My understanding is the contract seems pretty good, that they, you know, the county guys will come in and they will, you know, patrol just like they were city cops for X amount of time. But still, it's something that people have to go ask for. It's not something that the city's provided anybody just yet. And I think that the city, you know, I think the city should give the public some information on that in the overall. The other thing I have on there is that, you know, since that contract might still be worked on, I'm not 100% sure where that's at. It was my understanding that there's going to be an excess of funds for the police department. What I would strongly recommend the council to look at is that anything that they pay out to the county should come from the police department fund, but not change anything or scale anything back, but to put the money that they save aside just in case the contract does not work out, just in case something fails on it, that the city has something to fall back on. Because the worst thing that we could have happen is there be a disagreement between the county and the city is out one of their vehicles and have to go hire somebody last minute, and then the city's out even more money without, you know, just blindsided without it. And I think it'd be a good idea to make sure you have that money set aside as a rainy day fund in case of emergency. And that would be the greatest emergency I could possibly ever think of, is not being without any kind of coverage. Because if something did fall out, you know, we wouldn't have the county to fall back on anymore. We would have to figure out something last minute. And I feel like those are some pretty big concerns that the council should really consider. Thank you.
Any other public input?
I have some public input. So mine's in reference to the bar building downtown. I've talked to a lot of people and heard a lot of opinions, and I know a lot of people don't come to the council meetings, so I kind of got voted as to be the voice, but I don't know what all of your options are. I do see that you are looking at getting an appraisal on the building, which leads me to believe that you're possibly considering selling. My concern, or what a lot of people's concerns are, is, you know, not knowing what that building would end up being. And we've lost a lot of Main Street businesses that have closed recently. And I think, for one thing, not having a bar in a town is one nail in a coffin. Also, I think just losing businesses on Main Street, if someone were to come in and use it as storage or do something that's not bringing people into the community, I think that would be really terrible. I think some arguments for
I know I specifically talked to one Alcoda employee who said he would look for other employment if there was not a bar that he could leave work and walk over and have a drink. And I know that's kind of an extreme situation, but I know there are quite a few people who work in town who do enjoy that. Also, I'm a member of the Pink Ladies. You know, we do have a dart teams that we now no longer have anywhere local to throw darts. I know dart leagues have moved out of town because when the last people took over the bar, there was no place, there was a gap there, and when they started, they had no place to throw. I worked at the bar for Teresa for 10 years. When I worked there, every Sunday, I had groups that came from Akron, Hayward, and Beersford, because we're kind of like in the middle, and Waddy's. And it was a stopping point between bars if they were going somewhere. People from Beersford used to fill up with gas in town on Sundays because our gas was a lot cheaper. You know, when Austin and Augustine had the bar, they didn't have pizzas. I know people would order pizzas and bring them into the bar from Total Stop. So I think there are a lot of revenue sources and benefits. I mean, obviously the liquor tax and the beer tax for the city is another one. But I think there are a lot of things that, you know, poker runs in the summer. I think there's a lot of stuff that a bar brings people in if they do have bands, football, you know, just a lot of things that I think it would be really terrible to lose that. And if you sell the building, there's no guarantee that it's gonna remain a bar, you know? So I just hope that's something that you guys consider, because I do think there are more things that you like see on the surface that it would affect. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other public input? If not, we'll move on to number 6, the water meter project. Chad Hansen, if you'd like to take off with it. You bet.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chet Hansen. I'm with Core & Main. We're a waterworks distributor out of Sioux Falls. This is Chris Krapinski. He works for them also. All he does is work with meters. Charles Bausch does the same thing. He's out of Lincoln, Nebraska. He lives up by Harrisburg now. I'm in Sioux Falls. So we just wanted to come in, and I understand you guys are in looking around to upgrade your water meter reading system. So right now what you guys have, if you're familiar or not familiar with it, you guys have a variety of meters. Some are just like this one, it's an iPearl. You have some older ones, but on the outside, I believe every house, every business, there's a little black button. They touch that, that's how they read it. What we're proposing is there's 2 different ways to advance this to go forward. One would be what's called a walk-by drive-by system. And both of the systems would entail this. This goes right over the top of that button. It's very easy to install. It takes a couple of screws, it goes right over the top of the button. There's a handheld, there's some things that they go in, they program it, so now it is live, and it talks to the meter. The other way would be what's called the FlexNet system, and that is there's an antenna we put up in town, and you could read it all right here from City Hall, from the city offices. And so that's what we're proposing tonight. We'll kind of go over some of these other ones. This is called an Ally meter. It can be used in situations where if you have any issues with people who may not be the best payers, and you want to turn off their water system or their water to their house, you can do that with this. It's got 3 options. It's fully on, it's all the way off, or you've got a third one where you can turn it so just a little bit comes out. So we can pass that around if you guys want to see that, anything like that. I don't know how interested you guys are. If you want to see the rest of these, we can pass them around just so you can see what they are. But that's a little bit about it. Anything else to add as far as?
No, I mean, like what Chad had said, this radio that you're buying works whether you're doing a walk-by, drive-by, or our AMI system. So you can always start with the walk-by, drive-by, and then you can always migrate to a AMI system if you want, without having to change the radio out. We're one of the few out there that actually can do that. A little bit about the AMI system. So like Chad said, we'll put an antenna on your tank. There'd basically be a little box about 1 foot by 1 foot that would collect all the reads, and then we would backhaul that through some cellular device. And then you would basically log in on your laptop or computer and you would see all your icons and all your meters. So this is Gregory, South Dakota. If you click on this meter insight, you can see what they have for meters. So here's their active meters. So this information comes from your guys' billing system. So you would upload a billing file with basically names, addresses, meter IDs, radio IDs, last readings, information like that. And this would be our active meters list. Orphan meters are meters that the maintenance guy went out and installed, maybe hasn't updated the billing system yet. So that lets you know that, hey, these meters are here reading in your system, but we don't have a home for them in the billing system. Stale meters are meters we haven't heard from in 72 hours, and almost stale is 48. And then if we would read today based off of that billing file, we'd have 14 readings that we would collect. So they'd have to go out and manually get those. The nice thing about this is always up to date. So the radio reads the meter every hour, and then every 4 hours it would transmit to this head-end system. So the guys can come in, they can look at this information every day. If there's something not reading, they can take care of that before we read the meters, because when we read them, we want to get 100%. So this information is always there. If you have any sort of high bill usage or anything like that, or if you have any leaks, this would send that through either a text message or an email to the city people saying, hey, there's a continuous flow going on. So you would see that as well. There's also a alarms page where you can see that and set those alarms up. If you had a customer complaining of a high bill, or say they had a leaky toilet or softener that ran or something, their bill was higher than what it was previous months, this will actually store 3 years worth of data for that customer. So you can kind of see when that leak happened, when it occurred. A lot of times with your touch read or your walk-by, drive-by, you're only reading things once a month. So it's really hard to catch those. You know, usually if it leaks right after you've read the meters, you're not going to catch it again for the next 30 days. Or with AMI, you can catch that a lot quicker. So here's your device access. This is where you can see meter size, where that address is, and then any alarms, usage. So it'll show you your last 12 months worth of usage if there is any. I think the real good one that didn't have any on it. So it's usually Whitney's Gill. The other nice thing is if you have tablets or anything like that and you're out talking to a customer, you can actually have this on that tablet and actually show them their usage and stuff. So you can see right here, this has got, here's their. So Gregory reads 1,000 gallons, so it doesn't turn over until they've used 1,000 gallons on the meter. A lot of our towns, when they go to AMI, usually go to a smaller resolution. So they want to see if you have a leaky toilet, it may take 4 or 5 hours for that to use 1,000 gallons. Where if you had it down to a gallon, you'd be able to see those leaks at a much smaller rate. You can also operate this Ally meter over the air. So you would have to send somebody out to connect to it with the handheld. It would be able to issue a command over the air, and then it would shut that meter off for you. So with that built-in valve, it also has pressure and temperature in there. So if you have any areas that trailer parks or anything like that where things get close to freezing, this would send you an alert saying it's getting close to freezing temperatures, and you can tell them that turn their water on and run some water through it to keep that meter warm enough so it wouldn't freeze. Pressure issues, if anybody has any pressure issues, you can put this right there and it'll tell you exactly what their pressure is at their point.
Like that temperature, you can set it to what you want. So if you set it to 34, 35 degrees, so you know it's getting close, you get your alarm and say, hey, it's time to like you said, run some water, do something with it.
Billing access, this is where you would go in and pull your bills. So you basically come in, set your dates of what you want to bill. So if billing falls, say you bill on the 15th of every month, and that falls on a Saturday or Sunday, you could come in that following Monday and set it to the 15th and pull those. So you're getting now a true 30-day bill where, you know, if it snows a ton and you can't get to the touch pads, you might have an extra 5 days and everybody's like, oh, my bills went up, why is that? Well, we couldn't get out to read the meters. With this, you're able to do a true 30-day bill based off of that. Anything else to show?
So as far as, you know, the thing is, and I'll pass out, I got some sheets here so you can see what kind of costs we're looking at, the difference between the drive-by system and the antenna system. The drive-by system is basically you go out once a month. It's real simple. Once these radios are put on, you can drive your town. You can be done in an hour-ish. You got all your reads, come back to the office, plug it in, and download your reads. It's pretty easy to do. The thing that's nice about the antenna is you get a lot more for it. And you'll see the difference in the price. There's a difference. It's not outstanding by any means, but at least you get a true sense of what's going on every day. If you got leaks, or you got people who leave in the wintertime and they're gone, if there's water being used, try to prevent if there's a high usage alarm, if a, you know, a line breaks and there's water going to someone's basement. I know it for
The iPearls also, if they remove it from service, the customer does, it will throw you an empty pipe alarm, so you know if somebody's taking a meter out of service. It would let you know that as well.
Who would put them in? Like, who?
So you have quite a few iPearls in already. The touch button works with the census stuff, so everything that you see around town that has that little black touch button is already a census meter. Our radios will actually go back and work with anything probably about 20 years old, 22 years old. So anything that says ICE on it, you can put a radio on and you can actually, so there's not a lot of meters you have to change out.
right.
You'd basically just be adding the radio to it.
Okay, and so you can see there's kind of the imprint of what the touchpad looks like. So you just be putting it right over there, activate the radio, and you're good to go.
So it's pretty simple. It'd be something the city would be able to do, I would think, unless you hired someone, but once they get rolling, they can knock them out pretty good. We had a town of Lake Andes do this a couple of years ago. They probably have 3 close to your size, and they had a guy and that's all he did, and he got it done like in a month. But that's all he did.
Yeah.
Good at it, you can bang out 10 or 15 a day, and he rolled.
So when you go out and program the radio, it will tell you that it's talking to the meter, that everything's working. So that's kind of why we program everything. So when you leave, you know that radio's working, it's able to contact the meter, you're able to get a read off that meter. And then if you have the tower up, it will actually give you the tower number and everything that is talking to the tower.
So here, all quick, so we can go through some of the pricing for each of them. So you can take a look at what this is. That's the antenna one. That's the drive-by. Yep.
And everything on the AMI is password protected. We know who's in based off the usernames doing stuff. This is all hosted by Census, so you guys wouldn't have servers here. You pay a hosting fee, and Census would take care of all the security. If you needed new servers because Microsoft was ending the life of something, that's all included with your hosting fees that you pay every year, so they would update you and move your software over to that. So they have a big data farm that's all contained in.
You want to touch on AMR for the drive-by?
Yep.
And I'll pass it on here.
So on your drive-by, we have a Trimble handheld. Usually the reason why we sell those is they're a little bit more hardy. You can also do it off your phone. We work off either Android or iPhone as well. You'd have your command link. That's what you would use to wake up the radios. Plus it's Bluetooth linked to your handheld device, so it would actually read the meters and download everything to your device. Then the next line you have is your FlexNet software. So that's what would be back here on your computer. That's what talks to your billing system and loads the handheld for you. And then when everything's read, it pulls the reads off the handheld and then sends it back to the billing system. Your FlexNet support, that is for all your updates and stuff to your software. So anytime Census comes out with any bug fixes or anything like that for their software, that's included. So then anytime you have a new update, that would be released to you as well.
Because I'm not sure if you guys are on the annual support right now.
Okay.
I'm not sure. We could look into that, and I don't know if that's anything you've ever seen. So we'd have to take a look at that. So.
And then the training would be either by me or Chris. We'd come out, show you guys how to wake up your radios, make sure we're getting the information correctly in the billing, set up your billing file, and then go around with the guys and make sure that they understand what they need to do to get the reads on the drive-by system. Next is your smart points. So these are your smart points. We do have the best warranty in the industry. So you are looking at a 15-year full warranty on this. So if anything would go wrong with this radio, Census would replace it at no cost for the first 15 years. And then the next 5 years, they prorate that warranty. So it's a 20-year total warranty on that. So
if you're in year 13 and something goes bad with one, battery goes dead, something like that, you turn it in, you don't pick up at year 13, you start from year 1 again. So you get a brand new 20-year warranty.
yeah.
When you turn that in. And that's on both the newer iPearls and the radio.
Yeah, and a lot of our competition's still at a 10-year full warranty, 10-year prorated because of how much on time that radio needs to be for the handshake or like over a cellular system or something. So a lot of them can only get it to a 10-year. So they're kind of shying away from it still from that 15. But since we have our own way of doing that handshake, and then the radios only read in drive-by mode, it's a tone and receive. So they don't actually wake up and send out a signal to be read until that command link's out there saying, hey, I want your readings. They wake up every hour and ping the meter for a read, but they don't transmit until that. On the AMI side, they would transmit every 4 hours for the readings. So they read every hour and transmit every 4 hours. And that's basically what Census is basing off their warranty, is off that AMI side of it. Next is basically your iPearl cost, and then the Ally is there. You see that's a little bit more expensive, but that's got the shutoff in it, the pressure and the temperature in it.
So what I did is I just put on here, so you have the 3/4 inch, which is the most common one. There's a 1-inch iPearl, I have that. The Ally, which is more expensive, that's one of those that's kind of a isolated wherever you choose to use it. You wouldn't, it'd be great to put them all in, but you probably wouldn't cost a little bit too much.
Yeah, usually apartment buildings, sometimes you've got places where they've taken a house and made it into a duplex and you only have one shutoff. So then you're putting them there, so if somebody doesn't pay, you don't have to shut the whole place off, you can just shut one side of the house down.
Then the other ones at the bottom are the Omni meters. That's just your bigger meters in town. Talked to Lonnie a little bit. It's usually, you have a few of those around, 1.5 to 2 inch. There might be some bigger ones, but we'll see. So that's what I put on there for that.
Okay, so now the FlexNets. So your first line item is your Census R100 base station. So this is what would set at the base of the tower, collecting the reads. You still would use that same Trimble handheld or whatever device. If you wanted to use a phone or an iPhone or something like that, you can do that as well. We come out, we program that. So once, usually we have a local electrician run that. So we have to usually hire an electrician. It's usually it's 110. So it's nothing too crazy, but we just want to make sure that we're meeting all your guys' codes and stuff. So we usually let you guys have a local electrician that usually does stuff for you. So we just use that. Then the install of the antenna. So we have a company that covers a good part of the Midwest. They come out of Oklahoma and they come up and do our antenna install. They swoop the cable. They make sure everything's good and clear, that antenna's got a good line of sight of everything. And then you have your yearly SaaS fee. So this is every year with a 3% year-over-year cost would go up. But this is what you would pay to collect all your readings back to the office.
So like that other one had, I think it was $2,300 for the annual support. That's built into this also, with that SaaS fee. That's
Yeah,
part of
and then that also covers, you know, if you're, like I said, if they have some sort of catastrophic failure of servers or something and they need to replace your servers, that's all figured into this cost. Your updates are also figured into this cost. So when we go from RNI 6 to RNI 7, all that cost is figured into this. So this is your, be able to read your meters and your support and your upgrades as well. Next line item, so these are all one-time fees of getting the system up and going. So you have your RNI setup fee. This is your basically loading all the software, getting all the servers set up at the server farm that Census has. Census Analytics, same thing. So there's two different platforms. The RNI is actually connected to the R100, and then Census Analytics is kind of the brains of the whole stuff that connects and talks to your billing system. vFlex integration, this is where we would get a file from your billing system and integrate that into Census Analytics so you'd be able to upload that. It's just basically doing all the layouts and making sure everything works, making sure that billing file we send back the billing they're able to process. Then we would come up and train you guys, and then basically the project management fees just to make sure that everything's working, you know, coming up and making sure radios are working, towers working, all that kind of stuff.
Then the bottom's just the meters again, same
Yeah.
stuff that was on the other one, same price. The thing is, when you talk about some of this, the thing that's nice about it, I've been with Core and Main about 8 years. We have a variety of people who are using this, from cities to rural waters in the area. City of Harrisburg has it, Lincoln Rural Water is using it, Clay Rural Water uses it. City of Mitchell, there's a bunch of rural waters in the middle, West River Line and Jones, Tripp County.
On electric.
Yep, Sioux Falls has electric.
South Sioux City has it on electric and water down there.
Freeman's using it, Myrtle's going to it, Platt's going to it, they have the towers installed. City of Clark, so there's a variety. And the thing that's nice about it though, is it's one of those, we don't come in and say, here's our product, we put it in, and we don't see you again. I live in Sioux Falls, he's from Beersford, he lives over by Harrisburg, he lives in Lincoln, that's why he's here. The ongoing support. So once you have it, then we come in and we do training. We'll try to do, we're going out tomorrow to see some other rural waters just to do follow-up training. People have been with us for 5, 8 years, just to kind of do that continuous. Because there's always questions, there's always turnover. So it's that. It's one thing to get the system, but then it's the follow-up, what happens after you get the system. It's not like we say, thanks, see you later. And this product's been around for a long time.
Yeah, Clay Rural Water was the first one, and they put it in 2011, I believe. So
So
they're
it's
using the
a-
same type of radios that
Yep.
you guys would be using. So,
And so it is, it's proven, it's been around, we have a lot of people who are using it. And like I said, I think a big part of it's the support after the fact. It's like anything in life, you like to have something doesn't work, who can I call? And yeah, I can get a hold of them and they can show up. So, I think that has a lot to do with it. Or it's a big perk with it, I should say. And if you want to, you know, any of those towns I just talked about, I didn't bring a sheet, but I can easily get you guys, if you want to know any contacts, because I think that's the biggest thing, you know, everyone's proud of their system. Go talk to someone that's using it. What do they think? That's the best way. So, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about that and give you some contacts, so.
yep, and everything Census has for radio frequency is licensed. So they own the frequency. We're not in the free band. We're not competing against Verizon or AT&T or anything like that. It's all old pager spectrum that Census bought up.
And I think they're the only system that does that, has their own frequency, so when it comes to that, so it's a lot stronger. You guys got any questions? I'd say, throw a lot at you, but, you know.
So if you have a customer that's got a real old house, they probably have to renew, maybe?
It's hard to say.
Okay,
There's a couple people that would know what kind of meters are in the wall, so if they need them or not.
right. I just was curious. I think, like you said, most of the town's okay.
And we got some, you know, towns, like City of Myrtle's going through, and if they get into some that they run are just old, and they see they got 1 million or 1.5 million gallons, they're going, is it time, since we're already here putting a radio in, should we put a new meter into, just because we're,
We pulled the meter out of, McCool Junction had a restaurant, and we went and put a new meter in, and their bill went up quite a bit, and they're like, well, we want that old meter tested. Went and tested that meter, and they were actually losing 5 gallons per every 100 gallon that went through that meter. And they had a water cooler in there, and so it was, you know, that's a lot of water they were using. So as soon as we put that new meter in, they've now went to air cooled coolers, so.
Right, yeah.
So if that battery would go bad, you never replace the whole radio?
Yep, it's all sealed up because it's out in the elements.
Right.
They tried doing just kind of like a gel coat in the early 2000s, and it just didn't hold up. So everything's encapsulated now, so that it's better for the weather.
like if something goes bad, you get a hold of me, you come down, switch it out, take the other one, I send it in. They test it, if there's something wrong with it, battery went dead, whatever it may be, you get a brand new one, whatever it is, radio, meter. Yep.
Sounds good to me.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's all we got. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions or?
No.
No, we will use just so you have any questions. So Dave, you have to get over there.
Thank you, Chad.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving on to number 7, public safety with you, County Sheriff's Department. Dan, if you'd like to listen to either one.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for taking a moment, spending with us. Basically, we just wanted to come up and visit. I know it's been a short time since we've been doing this, but if any concerns or questions, we sure like to try to answer the best we can. It's been going pretty smooth, actually. We've been getting up to town quite a bit, more early mornings, school time, and afternoons, evenings. Hasn't been a whole lot going on right now, but we started a week, 3 weeks, but we don't have a full month yet. We do now. I think don't we have a full month yet?
A little short yet.
A little short yet. But our hours, we're not gonna have any trouble making the hours. We're gonna be way over the hours by the time it's all said and done. But we're still working on trying to get a better system for keeping track of everything. But we have it now, so when the deputies come into town, they call dispatch. We tell dispatch to punch them in for contract time. So that's how we're keeping track of the time. So we'll be able to show you the times that we're here. Other than that, I don't really have a whole lot. It's just want to touch base and see what you think so far. And I'm assuming you've been seeing the deputies up here.
I'll vouch for that. We've seen them several times.
Thank you.
By the school.
Yeah, good. So we hope to continue that, and we will continue that. And I think people will notice that, and if there's anybody thinking about messing around, they'll know that we're around. So, and I still have a deputy living in town here, and I have one in Beersford. Most everybody else, we got one out by Nora, and then everybody else down south.
I guess one of the concerns here, you know, not just this evening, Dan, but it's been a concern, I think this whole time throughout the talk, you know, SRO, we talked about that in the past, the school resource officer, you know, being, you know, we did not contract with the county, we would have stayed with our own chief of police, our full-time guys.
Yeah.
You know, if we would not have had somebody living in town, or whatever the case may be, if we had a school emergency or whatever type, we would still have to call the county, right?
Yep.
We did not have an SRO. Our last chief lived in Sioux Falls. He did not take on call. It was the same thing. We had to call the county. So I think to kind of clear up some of the, the fog, I don't think there was a whole lot of other options that we had because, I mean, there was not a lot of availability on officers. You know what I'm saying? So I think the only solution is the SRO. If we got that many people concerned about the school situations.
I think the state is, and Jim, maybe you step in there, the state's looking at some things, but it all takes money
Right.
and staffing. And staffing is becoming an issue for law enforcement. Not just law enforcement, every facet of life. And there ain't enough people to cover all the jobs anymore. If they're there, I don't understand it. I have an understanding of what I think's going on. But as far as an SRO, that's gonna take quite a bit of money. But, I'm not opposed to trying to do something there, maybe down the road. But, right now, I don't know that we can do it.
Yeah, I would just add, I know the state's looking into getting those pushed out more for the schools and the counties and the cities. Clay County, they have one SRO and he goes from different schools, but that's his job, that's it. When school's out, then he's on the road doing deputy work, So, again, I don't know what the situation would be where we would have one deputy just assigned to SRO duty throughout the county, that needed it. Pierceburg's looking at getting one. Elk Point's talked about getting one. North Sioux has one right now. Jefferson, obviously, there's a school there, so it'd just be Alcester and Beersford. So it's something. If it's just Alcester, then at what percentage of the time is somebody in the school, or they're just the go-to person for that?
I think North City, don't they share the expense with the school on that? They used to. I don't think the school provides funding for that, all of it. Am I wrong on that?
No, I think you're right. Yep.
So,
Has the school had to reach out to you at all yet
no.
in this short time?
They have, they reached out. They gave us cards to access the school.
Oh, good.
So we all have.
Yeah.
All have cards, so if there's an emergency or we need to get in, we all have access to that. So they did that.
Right away?
Yeah, the first week we were able to get those cards. So we do have that, and so they have reached out.
Every deputy has that card in their vehicle or with them, so if we need to get in, we can get in.
Okay.
Yeah.
May I do that, please? I have a question. Having two nephews in Perry, does the sheriff's department have any type of program where they get with the school and do a kind of a seminar? What to do, what not to do, situational awareness, that kind of thing. Do you guys do that, especially with your personnel coming into town now, to teach or to give the teachers, like I said, a seminar on how to react to an active shooter?
Yeah, there's a program that we can tap into, and we've done it with other schools. State will help.
Like I said, having two young grandnephews in that situation, and it was scary. I mean, it's scary anytime, whether they're
Right.
related or not. But maybe that's something that our sheriff's department could institute as a beginning, or they could.
And usually, we have businesses that reach out to the sheriff's office and schools. Hey, can you come in and do a security eval? Come work with our teachers or our personnel, teach us what we need to do in case there is a situation. So I guess I would ask the schools to reach out to us and say, hey, this is what we're looking for. We can get somebody on that and make sure we're providing the right education for that situation.
I know the bank just did it in town, but I'm sure it's with their Iowa branch, but they just did it.
Yep.
Because one of our people fell in the practice and broke her Achilles.
Oh,
So,
Well, I noticed our school, and I haven't gone down and actually looked at it, but they have a map of the interior of the school and how to get to the exercise or the fitness area. And I'm thinking that's on the outside of the school, so any stranger coming in, they've got a roadmap going in. Now, I can't say, I haven't really looked at it that closely, but it's little things like that that you don't think about. You're thinking about the parents and stuff and how to find a fitness center, and you don't think of that oddball out there that's going to cause trouble.
right. We've had this in place for a while now, I don't know where or not, but we have cameras piped down, or live feed down to our office dispatch. So we can see the hallways, the parking lot, cameras, we can see all of that. You know, we don't sit there and watch all day. But if something was going down, we can, focus in on an area, we can isolate it, hopefully, and tell the responding officers where to go with the building. So we have that in here, I think we have in all schools. So that keeps building.
I'd like to say I'm a little surprised at the business aspect of it. I have worked at a place where we did have somebody that was a potential for a danger to the company, we'll put it that way. And, the business I was working for went on lockdown during shift. And, I think it's good that the sheriff's office does that, and I hope that a lot of other places actually do that for some of the bigger businesses out there, because I tried getting in contact with my production managers at the place, and they had no real information of what to do in case there was an issue, other than, take cover wherever you can, get with your lead, take cover.
Well, a lot of them places are seeking out, hiring companies to come in and do that for them. That's an avenue that is out there. I don't know what something like that would run financially, but some of these bigger companies can probably afford to do that, hopefully, and put a seminar on for their employees to do the don'ts,
And we've seen a lot of it. The school wants to have their own plan. They call us in, hey, can you review our plan and see if there's any discrepancies or any issues, and then we can help them with that. But most businesses, schools, they like to have their plan in place. We don't build that for them. We just will help them out with it if they have any questions.
Dakota Valley, we just spent some time with them last year.
Yeah, first part of the year.
Whatever it was.
First part of the school year.
And they have a plan put together, and we went over it with them, or they went over with us, I should say. And so those plans are out there, something that the schools don't have to, they can probably get some help from other schools that already got it in place, and work off of theirs to conform around their needs. So that's and we can reach out and let the school know that too.
Yeah, when we talk about the SRO through the state's pushing this, that's what they're pushing, more security at the school. They're pushing this out to the schools. So that's one of the avenues is that SRO within the school. So it's all together.
Does the school have resources to pay for the cost of that?
When Austin was chief, I believe he did start looking, I think he went to a school board meeting, if I remember right, maybe a few of them, and there was some options that they were interested in helping out with the funds. I don't know, the discussion was what would they do with them throughout the summer months, Well, then we kind of discussed, what our portion was for payment, we'd use them as an officer or, some type of patrolman throughout the city. So, they were interested in, but I don't know the percentage-wise and how much.
Right.
So, it'd be worth visiting with them, and I would like to be involved too, if you'd like to do that, so we're kind of on the same
wasn't there
page.
some kind of grant though? And I think, isn't that what Beersford's doing? They said
It was a state grant.
Quite deep,
What?
a lot of work.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they said if they had to do it again, they didn't know if they'd do it. So I don't know if they've gotten anything out of it either.
That'd
Some of
be
them
throughout the
grants
city.
are worth
Yeah.
the hassle, they're paying, but you know, the best would be if the city or the county, the school combine together for the funds, commit the funds. It's always about the funds, so there's enough to go around.
They were interested.
They were, yeah.
Well, we have to reach out and
See what,
anything else?
no, thanks for working with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, we hope to make you happy and feel safer.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
Well, it's all about people understanding.
Yeah.
We're living in a community where they still think Gotch and Bay Oaks just came off the street. It's
I
getting
remember
these
that.
older, yeah, getting these older people to
Really?
realize
Yeah.
it's not like that anymore.
No, it's not, unfortunately.
And they don't understand that, and that's what they jump
Right,
at,
right.
so. But
Yeah.
I think they're getting there.
Good.
So just to know, we should have a sign on the building at the office, probably the first of next week.
Good.
So it's in progress right now.
Great.
About the inventory issue, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, it's on the agenda, we'll, we got, I think you're emailing Dave, Jim, right?
Yep.
And so we have stars by what you're interested in, you know, how we come up with what it's worth. I'm not exactly sure myself, you know, if we, I have no idea.
I was talking with Jim today about, you know, I'm assuming there's a desk, I know there's a desk, at least one desk in the office, probably a couple, but is that something that you need to get rid of? I don't know that I want to buy a desk, but if that's something you want to be willing to leave there, we would use it. If you're not, if you're gonna sell it, then we'll bring something else up, but, just throwing that out.
Right.
As far as some of the other equipment, Jim's kind of been handling that, so.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to clarify, that list was just the inventory list, and that was just, hey, take a look. So I just marked, hey, if this was left in the office, like that animal pole catcher, boy, if it was here, because we don't carry them with our vehicles, we'd have to go back to the office in Elk Point, grab one, and come back up here. So if there's one up here, we just leave it here, and, you know, it'd be right here to use. So not that we leave it here and then take it in our truck and go take it to Beresford. It would stay here, but those things that I put, that leave in the office, if they were left there, we could utilize them as they were. All right, the asterisks are ones that we'd be interested in. If you guys surplus them, those are stuff that handcuffs, spikes, tasers, stuff that would probably be tough to put out on for sale for the public, because you probably don't want to do that. So those are things that we would maybe like first dibs at if those were surplus, and we could talk about that.
As far as, you know, the value, you have to come up with your value. I mean, you guys, got what, a rifle, we would be interested in that, and if we could, you know, or two rifles, whatever you have, we'd be interested in maybe purchasing them. But we buy new ones too, through, Sioux Sales or Jack's uniforms. So you just have to come up with the price, and then we'll see what'll work and what won't work for us.
Right.
I think the main thing is it might be easier just to come up with something. Sheriff can decide yes or no. You know, the third option is just clean everything out. We just put in what we need and just clean slate, you know, and then you guys don't have to worry about anything. It's all yours, and you don't have to worry about anything. So that's like the third option. So, you know, just.
So, like these things you said you'd like to leave in the office, I mean, the building is ours, could those just be listed that they're in the office?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we don't want to take it over as our inventory by any means.
So just say in the building,
Yeah.
you know,
It would be-
like jumper cables, or, you know what I mean?
Yep. It'd still be Alcester property.
Right.
Yep. And that's the main thing that I wanted to talk about or bring up was the radio in the other patrol pickup. that's specific to Law 1, that's our radio law channel, so I just didn't want that surplus and out to John Doe out there, so we can just plug it in and listen to everything we're doing. So if you do get rid of that, I would ask that it gets erased or deleted, and the same with the red and blues and pickup, they can't be in there unless it's a patrol vehicle. So, I mean, it's marked on there, I put that note on there just to clarify that.
Any questions?
I would have one. Is there still active evidence being stored in that building?
Yes,
Okay. And you guys will have custody of that and control over that?
yes, we have that secured in the evidence room now, and we'll have to come up and go through it. And we'll probably use, Jeff or Grayson, or one of them, because some of that's probably their inventory, and they believe that it's been there long enough that it's probably, the final dispositions on it are probably done, so they can be destroyed.
Yep, so we'll go through that here probably in the next week or so. We can get all that to minimize, yep.
Because I'm not sure if the council knew about the evidence part of it.
Yeah, everything's been turned over as it should have been.
Is that it?
No other questions, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
Don't be afraid to call.
Sure.
If you got any way to go, call me. If you got a complaint, call him.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Moving on to 7B, the PD inventory by the city council. Motion to approve the inventory of the Alcester Police Department as surplus. So this is just making a motion to surplus in that. We'll have to make a decision how we're going to surplus it and, values. If you don't want to surplus anything yet, we can sit on it, but I think we need to decide what we're gonna do with it.
This is just declaring it though, it doesn't say anything what we're gonna do with it yet, right?
Correct.
Okay.
But if we declare it surplus, we can't keep any of it as our property?
Well,
Like the things out, if we do decide to keep them in the office, then?
yeah, we can keep whatever
We
we
still
decide.
can?
Yeah,
Okay.
because we're not itemizing what we're surplusing, it's just place inventory.
Okay.
We'll make a motion to approve inventory of Alcester Police Department as surplus.
A second.
A motion and a second, any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to motion to approve sale of surplus property of the city of Alcester Police Department.
We're gonna wait on that, right?
I'm sure we can want to.
So we need to find a value.
Correct.
Okay.
And then the last one, motion to approve surplus of the Dodge Ram PD vehicle. You would like to surplus it, or you would like to keep it? This has been a discussion in the past. Let's say if we keep it, we'll have to get, we need to get all the lettering decals off it anyways. Just due to the contract, how that reads. So,
And the stuff would be all on, correct? We have to take everything out of it.
Depends how you surplus. If you surplus it as a PD vehicle, that's
Then it can stay.
correct, most of it. You still have that appraisal, just the pickup itself, right? So we did have 3 appraisals that Dave had reached out to up in Sioux Falls. So we have an idea what it's worth. To get all that equipment inside, you're looking at 8 to 10,000.
To take it out?
No,
Oh,
just
just
to purchase it. So, I believe though, if we do surplus it, we need to buy something back for a city vehicle.
Can we just wait until we do the approval of surplus property? So we know what the value of everything is inside of it and where it's gonna go?
Yeah, Ken, if you want to.
The vehicle at that time.
Any other discussion?
How are we gonna know who we gonna contact?
Well, I guess we'll have to reach out to possibly the state and see what direction they give us on how to do it.
That'll give us time to look at and also the vehicle for the city too, and kind of compare what the cost would be. Just including this for a city.
I mean, we have looked into it, maybe you haven't got, I mean, Dave had reached out to Billy and I've reached out to Sioux Center. I have not heard back anything on fleet prices. Dave, I mean,
One that I got back was 50.
yeah, around 50,000 for a 3/4 ton pickup. So. No other discussion, we'll move on. Moving on to bar update, appraisal quote. Appraisal quote, appraisal solutions scheduled for the 29th of this month. Cost $2,950. If you'd like to move forward with that, you surely can. That was something you discussed last meeting that you wanted to do. So,
This is maybe a lawyer question, but if you sell this, can you sell it just as the bar, a bar?
And it must be used for that sole purpose.
that's a loaded question, because, I mean, there's always a contingent to it, you know. There could be something attached to the deed that is recorded through the county. The only thing is, you know, yeah, you could say, well, it has to be a bar, but what if they decide to close it? They want to maintain, well, yeah, we have a bar, but we're just not open. You know, whereas if they shut down half of it, the other half is something else, you know, I have no idea, but, you know, there'd have to be contingent to where it would come back to the city if they would discontinue it as a bar.
Yeah, we can do something like that.
But that's, I'm not saying it would work, but really good, you know what I'm saying? It's just something that Sam has said something to me about. The other option is the city needs to, I mean, we just have to keep it, open it up and run it. So,
We'll continue what we're doing.
leasing it out.
Well, one question I have, and I'd like, we probably need to find out from the lawyer is, instead of doing the bidding process again, could we set what we want for a price a month? Lease it to somebody, and if they're interested, they put their names in with the city, and then we decide who's gonna run it?
I don't think we could.
I don't think we could.
Well, we've had two incidences, you know, we had that Sullivan that was running.
Yeah, I know.
I shouldn't mention any names, but hey, he was there. And the city got stuck with, God, I can't remember, like 30-some thousand maybe? I'm just off the top of my head. Huh?
After 60.
Well, that could be. They got stuck with a whopping big bill.
Well, can I say something? There's nothing really, I don't think, that says that the city has to take the best offer for it either. So, I mean, really, that it ends up being in the city's hands on who they wish to go through with the offer, not necessarily who's the best offer, but who might give the best solution for it.
According to our attorney, he said that you have
Last
to
time we had to
take.
give it to the top,
Top bidder.
You have to do that.
yeah, that's municipal.
And I hate to go down that road again too, but
Our problem is, we've got some interested parties, and they're not gonna wait forever. So that's, huh?
All
Yes.
for purchasing?
Yes. One, I think they both might be purchasing, there's two interested. So do we just go ahead with the appraisal and then, we always have the option not to, right?
Right, you know, you're spending $3,000, you know.
But if you sell it, hopefully you get that back. I don't know. Otherwise, we don't know what it's worth.
and as far as us actually managing it and getting people to run it, I just don't see where the city's gonna make any money doing that. I mean, if you gotta hire a manager, then try to find help, which is very difficult to find decent help. Somebody's that's not gonna sit there and do a bunch of drinking or maybe skimming the tail or whatever the case might be that they might try. It's just very hard to find good help. And if you're hiring all your help in a little bar like that, I don't see where we're gonna make any, we're probably gonna lose money.
I mean, Teresa was able to do it for many, many years. I think if you get the right person in, I mean, it is possible. I know it is, because she did it for many years, and she had, you know, she worked herself and had 2 employees.
And you're kind of doing the same thing right now with the clubhouse, because you're in charge of the manager of that and so forth, so.
Beresford did it for many, many years. I worked at the municipal liquor store over there. I think that one had its own issues with their council, but, I do think it's possible to make money on it, but right now, it is hard to get hired people right now.
I think the situation I see it is in past years, the council did not take the money and put it where it was supposed to go. And this past year, it snowballed, you know, all the issues with the bar, and you know, part of the council got a bad taste in their mouth and saying, geez, this is gonna nickel and dime the city. Well, I think if it would have been properly maintained, like it should have been, it wouldn't look so bad. You know, just like the sidewalk. I don't know what the holdup was. Why wasn't that fixed 5 years ago? There's so many things that have been, you know, not done the right way. So, moving forward, money goes where it needs to be. Should be all right.
I guess I would bring it back to the community. You said there's a lot of people who, you know, want to keep it a bar, and I think we do really need to hear from those people and those people who are interested, because it does lay solely in our decision of what's going to happen to it. And if we don't know those people are interested, and we don't know like what roles they want to play in it, then we might make a decision that's going to go against that. So if there are truly people out there who are interested, want to keep it that way, and feel like they could be a part of it and maintaining that, then we need to hear from them, because otherwise we're going to make a decision blindly and then upset the community because we didn't know. So,
Yeah, and I think the problem is that once you do sell it, if you do, there's no going back.
right?
You know,
And that's a decision that also lays on us, but if that is what looks best for the city right now, that's maybe the possibility. But if there's other options out there, I certainly wouldn't know anybody in town who would want it or could be a part of it or who would manage it or anything like that. So I might make a decision, well, right now to me it's looking a lot better to sell, so we don't have to deal with it because it's just been so many problems. But if I knew people and I was like, oh, well, this looks a lot better, I can rely on these people, this is what they want, this is what they see going forward, it might skew my perception to go in that direction. So I guess I would definitely recommend to the community that we need to hear, we have to make a decision quick. Like Darla said, people aren't gonna wait, and we can't really wait. So if those people really wanna be a part of it and really want that, then they need to start speaking
and
up.
are you looking for someone who would be interested in like running it? 'Cause most of the people I've talked to, I don't know necessarily are.
Whatever, like
But
whatever
they just want there to be a bar in town.
Yeah, you were talking more people who just want to be patrons of the establishment, correct?
Right.
Yes.
I think the two things the council needs to be aware of. One, if it's sold to a private party that operates it as a bar, the city's getting the taxes off the building. Right now, the city's not getting the taxes off the building. The other thing is the competition. The city would be in competition with itself. And granted, they're not comparable, tavern versus community center or bar versus community center. But it's still, there's that competition. It's bad enough when it's two separate competitors, but where it's the city, you might want to just look into that and be careful with that situation.
I hate to keep going back to Beresford as an example, but again, same situation there. They ran the golf course and the MLS simultaneously for 40 plus years with no issues.
And I think.
But they aren't open anymore.
True.
And I think the fact that they are so different, I think there's a lot of different clientele that are frequenting them. And I know that we've been in town at the bar many times and gone to eat at the clubhouse, where if we had not stopped in Alcester, we would have been eating in Hayward or eating in Beresford. So I think just bringing people into town, I think they can really function like together and help each other. And, you know, if people are coming in for one, they're gonna be there for the other.
Something else to set it apart and something that I think could be very lucrative, whether even just for the person who buys a piece of advice, no one who has had this bar, at least as long as I can remember, has ever really fleshed out a full liquor store. It's always been that tiny little corner, half the shelves are empty, you know, not a lot to choose from. If someone expanded that whole area, that could be right there, because the grocery store doesn't have a huge selection. Where, I guess Beer Store does, if you wanna go over there, I don't know if Hayward does, I haven't really looked, but that would be something too, just off sale alone could be a moneymaker.
I agree with Kama. I mean, it's a catch-22. It really is. You know, that on the other hand, you got people that employees want $20+ an hour. McDonald's, $21 an hour is all positions. You know, the overhead, we see it all the time at the clubhouse. I mean, we did a good job this past year, you know, but the door's been closed too much downtown. We need to bring that business back, and anytime you throw the key down the drain, and you're gonna recover it. I mean, I'm not saying it can't be done. There's been a lot of people that have drove to town and the bar was closed. And a lot of people expected it to be open. So you think they're coming back the next weekend? I mean, once the word of mouth goes quick. I'd like to see the bar downtown, but I just, moving forward, I'm not sure how you'd like to do it.
Well, and wage-wise, most bars run off tip-based, and if you don't have a lot of people coming in, you know, you can't really expect to pay servers at a bar, a bartender, you know, really anything, because they normally run off a tip service, just like a restaurant would. And a lot of bars, you know, I've seen it down in Omaha, I've seen it other places where a good portion of their income is all tip-based. And they're treated just as a server is, basically, and there's no way around that. So if you only have maybe 10, 15 people coming on a night, and you've got 2 bartenders, and they only maybe tip $5 each group, maybe at the end of the night, you know, that's not gonna be enough to get somebody in there. And that kind of goes in with what you were saying with wage-wise. You know, you can't, you know, first of all, bartenders, you can never expect to pay them the full $15, $16 an hour you would any normal job. You know, they're gonna get that server wage, which the last I knew when I looked at it, this was a few years back, was like $7.50 for a wage for servers. But if you take whatever you would pay your waitresses and waiters at the clubhouse, that's basically what they would be paying. Because no matter where you go for a bar, you know, they're gonna be making money off the beer and the liquor, but a lot of the wages that are being paid out are all tip-based.
Typically, serving is different in bartending, in my experience. Any of the places I have served at, I have made well below minimum wage. I have never had a bartending job that I didn't make at least minimum wage, if not above.
Is that just like the straight salary for it, or was that with tips?
Plus tips on both.
Plus tips.
Usually bartenders, in my experience, do make more than like serving with food, because serving with food is a little bit more steady, whereas bartending, it can go either way depending on the night. But yeah, it's certainly not, in my experience, I've never seen it be like $16, $17 an hour, like what we
Right.
a couple times.
That's never lucrative enough.
So what if we just put it back up for lease? Then we're not responsible until the end of the year. Then whoever's leasing it, then they'll know if they want to buy it. Gives us a little bit more time, and we're not managing it, trying to find help.
Or maybe they'll do a great job and just want to continue with it.
Do you think any of the interested parties would go for that?
I know one probably would prefer to buy, and if I heard it right, the other party, I don't know the other party, who's interested in both.
I mean, that at least guarantees us.
And it, maybe get it moving instead of waiting and waiting and waiting.
And if we did have a new contract, we could stipulate exactly what we want a little bit more.
The only thing we'd have to find out would be about the bidding. Would we have a bid? could we do it in a way where we could have a choice? Might be something we gotta ask the lawyers. But
I would lean in that favor.
At least for a year, just to give us time to decide.
Or whoever is listening.
then it's not our headache to try to find. If they wanna have a lot of liquor in there, that's their choice. It's not us. If they wanna buy what's left, that's not us. And then it would still stay a bar, correct? For now. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I would be in favor of that.
Carrie, what do you think?
Gotta do something.
Then you wouldn't have to pay the $2,950 right now that we could see.
Well, maybe we could stipulate if they're interested in buying it, which would be, could we somehow make it, we would have to.
The principal would just go into the purchasing cost.
Oh, there we go, that worked.
If you really wanted to recuperate that
Yeah.
significant.
Or even half of it or something.
I guess, would you guys mind reaching, I know Dave or Lucas, reaching out to a lawyer and asking that question?
We could ask them, but getting them to call back right now is they're in fear. By the next time.
To make a decision.
Could you reach out to people who have shown interest and just ask them if they, just reiterate and see if they would still be?
Yeah, I know the one, I don't know.
Oh.
Discussion in regards to that?
No, we can't make a decision
Right.
anyway, there's no motion on it.
So moving on to the final inventory update. Dave, you want to think about that?
So you all have a copy of the inventory sheet that was done last week. Bottom of the third page is the final total cost for the inventory. Everything is in the county, was in the lease that it is required for us to purchase that back from them. And then behind that, you should have invoice and final liquor markup that is still owed to the city. Those total on it. So I just need you to go through and approve that, and how you want to do it. You want to deduct what's owed for those last two invoices. And then there's also the last water bill that you should have copied. There's a letter there that we should all have a copy of.
Regardless if we lease it out, whatever the case may be, we need to get that bill taken care of.
Yeah, we have to pay that.
I mean, we all know how it stands on the other side, but we still need to take care of our part.
Sure.
So the 5,400 has to be paid back to them.
Correct.
That's part of that was part of the contract.
So does that then void out these other two?
So we bless those costs.
We can take those off of that final, right?
I have to verify with the attorney.
Should we just do it separately?
I would do it, it's cleaner to keep it separate.
Okay. But there's no motion.
Correct.
I didn't put a motion on there because it's required of the contract, so we have a choice.
Okay.
It's just, it's
So
more
it's
of an
going to
update for
happen.
you guys, it has to happen by that contract.
Okay, thank you.
This was part of that initial agreement that the city's required to purchase that inventory back.
Perfect, thank you for that.
With that, we need to get that out of that building so it's safe. There's some of it that they can bring up to the clubhouse. They don't have room for all of it. If you look at the inventory sheet, it's 175 bottles.
Could we put some of that in the old clubhouse for a while?
They do have a list of things that they do need up at the clubhouse for their inventory. I'm just needing help moving it out of there and getting it stored so it's secure and safe. Rather than just leaving it in that building.
Well, if you can do it in the evening, just let me know a day and I can help.
I can help as well.
Probably be the safest to get here
Clubhouse.
somewhere, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's either here or the old clubhouse or somewhere where it's.
Just let, I'm willing to help, so.
I'm just wondering, just because I was in the bar when we did the last inventory, it wouldn't be safe going in the office, it's already locked in there? Would it be double locked then?
If you're okay with that, you can certainly do that.
I don't know what you guys thought, because there's a room back and that's locked. So that'd be locked and then the building would be locked. I don't. And it's on Main Street versus the clubhouse is not on Main Street.
I guess we still have to take whatever the clubhouse needs up to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have their list.
Oh, I see what you're
They
saying,
have-
whatever's left, we'll just leave back in the room there. Yeah.
They have a
That
copy
back
of this
room's pretty
inventory.
secure, isn't it?
I'll set up a keypad, so I
Yeah.
don't know that it has it either, because that whole, it has keypad.
Well, it's insured, I mean, if somebody was to break in and get drunk, I guess I'm sure.
They do have insurance.
Don't get me while I use
Already done.
Yeah, we can get that moved into that office, and then the clubhouse managers have a copy of the inventory and what they want to bring up there right away, and then if there's something else they need, they see what's still available. So.
Perfect.
I just think it's a lot less work.
Then we don't.
Yeah, then I can move it.
Works for me. If you're
I
okay
can
with
still
it.
help move whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Any other discussion in regards to the inventory? Moving on to number 9, Clubhouse Golf Course, motion to approve purchasing ad in the South Dakota Women Magazine for Morningside Event Center for up to $525 for 2 months. Anna, do you want to talk about that some more?
So I did some research with some Upcounters help too. We're gonna hopefully put an ad in our SD magazine, Sioux Falls area to get more weddings booked in the event hall, anniversary parties, etc. I did reach out, we did miss the deadline for February, March, because I needed the council approval. But it's a 2-issue month ad for $525. They would do the ad for free. I just needed some photos. They would do everything, send me over a proof, and then we'll get it in the ad. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. Getting around the Harrisburg, Worthing, T area. Things like wedding receptions.
Well, in the past, I think it only went a lot to Iowa, am I correct?
I don't know.
I think it was all directed towards Iowa, so I think we need to give South Dakota a push.
For the South Dakota Women's Center?
You know, the advertising before a lot was done in Iowa for the community center, not.
But you're talking about the South Dakota.
Right.
Okay,
So
sorry.
this would be
This would
more
go to
So the
that.
South Dakota Women's Magazine, you probably see it at, it's always at High
It's
V.
everywhere.
It's
Yeah.
a
Yeah, you said
huge
Worthing,
magazine.
T.
Yeah, I always pick it up.
Yeah.
so.
It's very, it's a thick magazine, but,
So,
And it's free, so people just
yes.
pick it up.
so I don't know how you guys feel about that. If we get that approved, I could get that going for April and May.
Well, I'll make a motion to purchase the ad in the South Dakota Women's Magazine for the Morningside Event Center for up to $525 for 2 months.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Sorry.
Motion to approve $580 for annual half-page advertisement in the Sioux Links Golf Magazine.
So I did bring a copy. This sends out to local golf courses each year. It's a free copy for the golfers to pick up. We update our green seas, cart rental, and everything in here. And then we do have an ad in here. I'll pass it around. This was last year. I mean, we could put this back in the Sioux Link magazine. What we offer. So it's a half page for that amount. I would send out updated photos, but
I also just think it'd be important now to add at the bottom or somewhere on your registration form for event value and like how they got information, because we're spending significantly more, I think, than it has been done in the past, which is what we need to get people in. But so that when we budget for it next year, we can see what's being efficient. So if we get no business from South Dakota on this page, then why are we gonna do it again?
Why would we spend money on that?
Just so we can kind of see where we're getting that business from, so that we can better target where our marketing is going in the future.
Do you think it would help to have a picture of the actual course on the ad too, instead of
Yeah,
just
we
the-
would, yeah, I don't know who did this, Dave maybe?
I mean, it looks nice, but
Dave,
What's that?
send him these? I don't know, but,
and then maybe he mentioned too, like a coupon that they could cut out even. Could we fit that into the ad, or is that?
yeah, we could always put that all day golf rate in there too.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Only $3 off burger and fries, you know.
Yep.
Bring this, you know, cut it out, and then we know that who it's reaching, you know. Just an idea.
Yeah, you can send them whatever and see what they can fit, or see what layouts they get back to you, and
Okay.
which one works the best. If they're willing to do that, that's part of their. I'll make a motion to approve spending $580 for the annual half-page advertisement in the Sioux Links Golf magazine.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Motion to approve. You done, Landon?
Yeah, I'll just wait for
Okay.
pass sign.
Motion to approve hiring McKenna Hunick as server at $7.87 per hour effective immediately.
I'll make a motion to approve hiring McKenna Unique as a server at $7.87 per hour effective immediately.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to clubhouse sign, Landon and Darla. This is, we met with Fast Signs, if you want to visit about it, Landon, you go ahead, it don't matter.
So Lucas, Darla, Dave and I met with Paul from Fast Signs last week. We'd like to get signage by the road. There should be 2 quotes in your packets. So the one estimate, the 103,415, is $43,775. It's double-sided, just digital. And then the other quote is the 103,246, also double-sided, digital, and then it has the golf clubhouse, the event center, and the restaurant on top. And then we would have training on all the digital signage, on how to put our lunch specials on there, our event in progress, dining room still open. And we
They
can
can
put,
change it from their computer to say that
yeah,
golf league tonight. It was pretty cool.
it was. And I think Dave did some figuring on the budget on where we stand on signage. Do you want to present that?
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple of different options with, the golf course is under budget for projected spending, so we can pull in the golf course budget a little bit. We did have a meeting with Gary McKellips, and the loan that he gave us, the payment that is earmarked out of Second Penny to go towards to pay him back. He's been waiving those payments, and he did give us permission to use that towards the sign. And then we would also have the option of reaching out to the Alcester Community Foundation for another donation for a portion of it. We did get the last, their original pledged amount. We got the last installment of that. So the Community Foundation donation account, if you wanted to use that, would have enough in it to cover the term for either option. So there's a few different options on how you want it.
And there's still funds in the other account for what was left.
The donation account. that donation account is a little over 65,000. So it would leave you with,
Gotcha.
it would leave you roughly with, depending on what the electricians cost, because this, we would still have to hire an electrician to do the wiring piece. So depending on what that cost was, you'd have $12,000 to $15,000 left in that donation.
When we met with Gary and, one thing they did, they don't want it to be, how do I say this nicely, junky look. They want it to look professional.
I don't
Both
think
sides.
anything that comes from Fast Signs. is
No,
wrong.
and they stated they were very happy with Fast Signs.
And when we met with them, the one that they saw was the
4.5.
this one. This is the one that they saw that they really
Says stuff
liked.
across the top.
They liked being able to have that across the top where it said, it's the golf course, it's the Morningside Event Center, and it's the clubhouse grill.
And just so you guys are all aware, the promissory note that Gary was talking about would cover roughly about half of those.
Right, it's 20,000.
Yep. And that amount I had put in the budget because it was not paid back to him last year. He did waive it, it wasn't that it was not paid, he waived it last year.
Yes.
And so I put it in the current budget to have it started back this year. So if he's waiving that, that's where that's coming from.
Questions?
Well, the same price, the one with the three across the top is way nicer to me, I guess.
Has a skirt on the bottom.
Yeah.
You can put a phone number across the bottom, you know, big letter and numbers.
Make sure you add the E to grill.
Yep.
It said check for spelling errors, so I was just following directions.
Whichever option you go, the council would decide. Fast Signs requires 50% down upon signature of the contract, and then 50% at completion. They said it takes about 4 weeks from the time that they receive the signed contract, half down for completion. And within that time, we would have to reach out and find an electrician, and he could get in touch with Fast Signs and find out exactly what he would need to do, so we would have that cost for his portion of it before the signs would be arrives.
Where is actually the sign going?
By the road.
By the road,
Straight out.
But
by that white building.
Come by the driveway.
Oh, okay.
that building has to be moved though, or redone, or redug, or,
Hope to move it. Location on that.
like, somewhere else, or?
Yeah, the guy that works on our clay valves and whatnot, that are in there, supposed to give me back some info, but he gets really busy and he's in no real nowhere, so I need to reach out to him and get hold of that again. But I'm hoping we can move it, more over by the golf maintenance shed in the ditch, and then that way we'll actually have all of our customers under the water tower. Instead of, we had some before the water tower, so. So hopefully if that happens, that building could be gone.
So if we put a sign there, it would be fine, even if you,
Yeah, we're gonna need some room to dig around that, so just be aware of that when we do it. And there is some water lines in that ditch, but I'm not sure, are you thinking like center line of the ditch or up the ditch? I'm thinking up here.
Higher.
I guess we should probably get moving on that shed then, because you're gonna move forward with this.
He told us though it'd be,
Spring.
he said it'd be spring. I
Like
mean,
this
they
coming
don't do
spring?
anything right
Well,
now.
if we get the motion.
Yeah, we're gonna need some time to get our stuff done too, so.
They won't be able to dig in the ground until the turf and frost, so sign will be done in 4 weeks, but actual install is gonna depend on weather.
Yeah, there's not much frost, so.
So,
Okay, I'll make a call tomorrow.
and we can approve the sign, and we don't have to purchase it right now.
The only thing we'll cost change if we don't?
I think we had 30 days.
30 days?
But again, that's just purchasing it, that has nothing to do with installing it.
Oh, sure, so you're saying we could purchase it now and then just not install it already?
Right, they'll just hold the sign.
Oh, perfect. Well, if we're gonna do it, I definitely want to reach for six. If you're 120, you like to?
Sorry, hold on.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve proposal 103246 from Second Penny and Donation Fund for 2 fast signs for $48,675.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to golf fees on 2024 resolution of fees discussion. So, you want to
Yeah, so
discuss that?
after the initial resolution came out, some members of the golf committee or board had reached out and suggested a change to initially drop the price increase for high school and college students so that the price would not increase after May 15th, just to try and encourage increased participation for college and high school students. And then the all-day golf rate, they felt the increase was a little bit too much. They felt $40 was more in line with local prices. So they suggested dropping that as well, from 60 down to 40, from what the original resolution was. So it would just be amending those two and adopting the new, to adopt those rates on the resolution.
So the college students, you're proposing what?
It would not increase the original, and all in the resolutions in the past years. All the rates have increased, after May 15th, all the rates would go up by $15. So it would drop that rate increase for high school and college students, and it would remain $180.60. So it would just be dropping that rate increase that was on the original resolution.
What was the all-day golf rate before we approved the resolution?
For last year's resolution, it was 30.
So it's an increase.
And so this one was 60, than the original one, and they felt that was too high.
I'll make a motion to approve amending 2024 resolution fees to change high school and college rates so they do not increase after 5/15 of '24.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second, any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on, motion to approve decreasing the all-day golf rate with card from 60 to 40 and add that this excludes after 4 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays for golf league.
They wanted that last piece included just to make sure, so if somebody would come out on Tuesdays and Thursdays during men's and women's golf league, that it was clear that they had to be done with the course by 4 p.m. so the league golfers could get on the course at the right time.
I'll make a motion to approve decreasing all-day golf rate with card from $60 to $40 and add after 4 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays for adult students.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
You know, that everyone to sign and we'll get that republished.
Moving on to finance office, motion to approve January warrants.
I'll make a motion to approve the January warrants.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Dave made a comment, he'll talk about this, he said, so 10B and C.
Yeah, just a reminder with the upcoming election, election day Tuesday, April 9th, here at the city office. Petitions are available here at the city office. We currently have a 3-year term for mayor that's open. Ward 1, 1-year term, Ward 1, 3-year term, Ward 2, 1-year term, and Ward 2, a 3-year term, and then Ward 3, 1-year and 3-year term are open as well. Petitions must be returned to the city office no later than 5 p.m. on Friday, February 23rd. In order to be eligible, you have to live in that ward, and I have a map if somebody doesn't know what ward they live in. They have to have resided in the city for a minimum of 3 months prior to the election. They have to be registered to vote in that ward. We can assist them with registering to vote if necessary, and they cannot be a city defaulter. So if they have any questions, feel free to contact the city office to get them a petition, just like a city in front of all of the members. Happy to notarize those for you at the end of the night if you'd like.
Thanks, Dave.
No pressure, right?
That's all I have for.
Well, if I could add something quickly, I'll tell you what, I think we're up to date with some things that need to be done in the city, and of course it'll save a lot of money. It would have been done many years ago, but it is, we're at where we're at, we're getting it done. I'd like to see the president council consider staying in because we are getting things done. Please consider it. And you're welcome to stay as mayor, buddy.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll move on to number 11, Union County Fair update with Darla.
We had our first fair board meeting for the year. The fair this year is August 1st through 3rd. A big discussion was having the tractor pull on the Sunday. It really did affect the fair. But it's a hard one to fix right now because you have to lock in your, what do you call those, trailers? Sleds. And so they did try to change that we could have a tractor pull on Saturday, but the sleds are not available. So for this year, we will have the rodeo yet, but the tractor pull will be the Sunday after the fair. Other than that, they're gonna have the Ag Olympics on Thursday night. They need an event yet for Friday night. Saturday will be the rodeo. It's just really was hard for them to predict what the fair will be when last year the 2 days were rained out, basically. The 2 big events were rained out. The commissioners did give more money to the fair this year, but the fair has to prove that they're doing more to bring in money. They want money, we gotta do more. At the end of the meeting, I asked, because I know there is a lease with the city, and I never knew what was really on the lease. It's a 100-year lease. The city owns the fairgrounds. Granted, we do not own the ground where the railroad owned, which now the scale sits, and the city does not own past the fence that goes down. That's the county. So actually the fairgrounds is owned by 3 entities. The city owns a street to the west of the buildings that goes in between the elevator and just to the corner. That it goes to somebody different when you turn the corner. Township. Am I right, Vicki? Isn't that township? I think so.
It's South Sister Township.
Yeah. So I said, what? Because Pat was on the chamber as part of the fair board. So I asked after the last fair, who on the chamber could be on the fair board? Well, the county agent kind of told me, well, anybody can be on there. No, it is in the lease from the city of Alcester for 100 years, and we're only halfway through it, that a member of the city council has to be on the fair board and a member from the Chamber of Commerce. That's in the lease. So just to clarify that, so everybody knows that, because I don't think people are aware of that. And the county agent wasn't aware of that, and he tried to say anybody could be on it. No. So somebody from both entities, until this lease is up, has to be on the fair board.
Question on that. So is the same person, the same council person who sits in on the chamber, also sit on the fair and do double duty, or no?
I don't think they want that.
Okay.
I think the whole idea was to have two people. Because they want, what has happened is, for example, the chamber had no idea that they were a part of the fair board. So that was, so Vicki was I asked her, Vicki came to, her question was, could it be a different person every time? And they said they would prefer not. Because the county does pay fair board members to come, and they're not gonna have a bazillion names on that list, and every month have to change who's gonna, be on the board. So the meetings, they're budget-wise, they pay mileage to El Point, but they're gonna start having more meetings here because most of the people on the fair board are on this end of the county. So, but I just wanted you aware of that because the Chamber of Commerce did not realize it. So they would, it is an asset to town, so like when we have the supper, they have the supper, it's supposed to be a community supper. It's supposed to be a lot of people in the community coming and help to serve it. But I've always served it from the council. The bank has been very good about having somebody there, but we need Alcester present and serving that. So I think that has gotten thrown to the side, and I just think everybody needs to know that. Because it is probably one of our biggest events in town. So, I don't know, do you have any questions on that? But that's just what's kind of going on. So, the county commissioners have spent a lot of money on that fair in this last few years. So there again, things have been let go for so long. Shooting sports has escalated to so many kids that they have outgrown the big building down there. And they are now going after funds. Yeah, they've got so many new kids. And they have to go there in shifts because there's too many down row ones. They go a couple times, I think. So just so you're aware of that. That's all I got.
Thank you, Darrell. I think this is on the past agenda. A motion to approve the donation to the Union County Fair in the amount of,
Last year, April 2023, we donated 500.
would you like to do the same, more or less?
Do the same, and if something special project comes up, we could always give more, correct? I mean, if they wanted us to give a prize for something, that might be an option.
That puts us in the middle one, so we get a medium banner.
Yeah. Oh, and silver, yeah.
Sorry. I'll make a motion to approve donation to Union County Fair in the amount of $500.
I'll second it.
A have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to wastewater update. Motion to approve payment application number 9 to IPT in the amount of $63,658.71.
I will make a motion to approve payment application number 9 to Industrial Process Technology in the amount of $63,658.71.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to 12B, motion to approve payment of the invoice 4178.6 in the amount of $1,352.17 to the Banner Engineer for work completed in January.
I'll make the motion to approve payment of invoice 41786 in the amount of $1,352.17 to Banner Engineering for work completed in January.
I'll second it.
This motion is going to die. We're going to redo this. We have the updated, what's that?
They put the wrong amount on.
They put the wrong amount, so.
Oh, okay.
So let's just amend this. Motion to approve payment of the invoice 41786 in the amount of $3,608.63.
Do we need a motion to amend? Or can we just do it all in one motion?
All in one motion.
$3,608.63.
Is this because of that how insulation or something?
No, that's for some other work. It's on the, you have a copy of the
Oh,
the
okay.
invoice in your packet.
Commission, could I get that total?
Oh, sorry, $3,608.63.
Thank you.
So you're gonna read, let's redo the motion, I guess. You made the motion?
I did not.
Okay, so we need somebody to redo the motion.
So just restate the motion.
Reset, yep.
I can. Motion to approve payment of invoice 41786 in the amount of $3,608.63 to Banner Engineer for work completed in January.
I'll second
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to 12C, motion to approve reimbursement to John Cirk for the invoice from Dan's Drain and Duct Cleaning in the amount of $446.04 due to the city line being clogged.
Is it anyone specific or something?
So this is in reference to the night John came to visit with us. We talked about it. The attorney did advise that the city is liable and we should pay it.
I would make a motion to approve reimbursement to John Sir for invoice from Dan's Drain and Duct Cleaning in the amount of $446.04 due to the city line being closed.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to 12D, motion to approve payment of the invoice 9016 from Dan's Drain and Duct Cleaning in the amount of $860 for the city line being clogged.
I'll make a motion to approve payment of invoice 9016 from Dan's Drain and Duct Cleaning in the amount of $860 for the city line being clogged.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to 12E, motion to approve job title change for Lonnie Johnson from Street Superintendent to Superintendent of Public Works.
I'll make a motion to approve job title change for Lonnie Johnson from Street Superintendent to Superintendent of Public Works.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to 12F, motion to approve advertising assistant superintendent of public works position. This will be Dale's job.
I'll make a motion to approve advertising the assistant superintendent of public works position.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Number 13, Union County Pre-Disaster Mitigation Planning Finance Officer, or Jeff Nob. Jeff
was able to attend tonight. So Jeff Nohava, the EMS director, and I attended the first meeting back the 24th of January down in Union County for the pre-disaster mitigation plan update. It's a plan that's statewide that has to be revamped every 5 years. So each county is meeting with these, with all the different groups from all the townships, cities, EMS, fire director. So these will be monthly meetings. The next one is February 28th down in Union County, at the court basement of the courthouse. It's a 5-month meet plan, develop the plan for countywide. Couple of the things that they did ask us to bring for the next meeting is if there was any disasters within your area of responsibility for, so for Alcester's case, any photos that we would have for the for said disaster. So if there's anything within the last 5 years that you can think of that you'd like to include, let me know and I'll try and track down those photos. Pat Cass, fire chief, he will try and attend those as well. And they did suggest Public Works to attend if able to as well. So I'll try and work with Lonnie and get him down there as well. So I'll keep you guys updated on those.
Sounds good. Thank you, Dave. Moving on to number 14, Street Department. Lonnie.
Dave, I hope you remember, what year did we set the wage? Was that 2020 for contract labor?
That was the most recent one that I had, was
Okay.
2020, yeah.
Basically, I'm just asking that when we hire people like Tyler Chose to come run equipment for us, that we increase that rate a little bit, that we pay them, especially if they're in a CDL vehicle, like he ran 21 or 2 loads to Sioux Falls and back for us. And I think we're giving him $15 an hour to do that. And he did an awesome job. So, you know, when I get these people for contract labor, I want to keep them around. So I think we should maybe reward them a little more for what they do for us. And basically, I'm asking for $17 an hour if they're not running a CDL vehicle, like say the skid loader, whatnot, or the snow blower. And then if they're running our truck, specifically our truck, $20 an hour for CDL.
Is this something you can do currently within the budget, or is this something we would have to do for next year?
I don't know historically.
So I have a contract budget, and it's just set at $1,500 in snow, $1,500 in street. So basically, by raising these, that budget will go quicker. But we also, like snow contract labor usually typically is when we get the side dumps in here and we haul snow. Street, I think, what did he do? 40 hours last summer?
Yeah, 32,
So,
I believe it was less than 40.
and then, you know, that was 20 loads, and that's probably about all he'll do again, because I'll do the other 10. It just works out that way. So, basically, when I run out of 1,500, I guess I'm on my own with whoever we have to get for help. And, you know, hopefully we have a new person hired by then for Spidle's position, and they're getting acquainted. And hopefully they have a CDL, and we won't need the contract labor so much. So,
Maggie recognized. I have a quick question. Is the CDL verified, and do you need liability insurance when they operate city vehicles?
so when they come to, or when we get somebody, they bring their driver's license in, and I believe they are run through our insurance company to make sure, because we had that in the past a long time ago that somebody snuck one by on us. They had a CDL, but they were actually under SR22 insurance. But anyways, we found that, we just don't hire that person.
Just please.
Yeah, Yeah, they're covered under our policy while they're operating equipment for us as kind of just like the workman's comp policy is, they're considered an employee just for that coverage.
Thank you.
So then Julia, to answer your question, yeah, we can, it's just gonna take better communication for Lonnie and I to make sure we stay within that budget. Just cut down the number of hours you'd be able to hire somebody. Absolutely.
Well, if that's, I would make a motion to approve changing contract labor rates to $17 an hour for non-CDL operations and $20 an hour for CDL operations for snow and asphalt driving.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to 14B, motion to approve the request to purchase the new steel MS 500i or 661 chainsaw for the amount up to $1,700.
We currently have a steel MS 391. They all have that email, right, Dave? So you kind of know the story there. It's more of a upper end homeowner saw. It's not really good for cutting huge trees. Talked to Lucas a month or so back about possibly just getting this same 462 saw that he has, and he recommended that we try to get the 500i. So the 661 is cheaper by $150, I would say, but definitely weighs more. And the 500i, I did look today just out of curiosity, and I found 8 in the area. So it's not going to be quite as hard to find as I thought.
They both have about the same lifespan.
I guess I've never wore a saw out. Lucas maybe knows more about that than I do, so.
I would say the 500i, I mean, if you take care of it right, you don't need a cold score, which, I mean, if you warm it up alright, it'll be alright. I mean, I've wore out a few saws, and I think either one of these, they should last 10, 15 years if they run right. So, a lot of it is, you buy that pre-mixed fuel anymore, and you really push that, you know.
So we don't have to pay you to cut down trees?
Correct.
Well, we still need it. It's just that he doesn't have to cut the 9-foot base like he did last time. We already told this route. Did you do that with your 462?
881.
881, yeah.
So is this out of the street budget or what budget is this?
So I would suggest, you know, a good portion of this will be getting used on the golf course. So I would suggest that we should share this cost between some departments.
Split it between the two.
Yeah.
Because the golf course will get the majority of it. We got a lot of old river maples that are getting
Well,
pretty
even,
bad.
could you even use some of the cemetery?
Yeah, it'll be used cemetery, you know, storm damages if we have that need again. We've only had one tree fall that the loader can move, but get completely off the street. It could happen, you never know. Mother Nature, so.
Well, I'll make a motion to purchase a new steel saw, either 500i or 661 chainsaw for the amount up to $1,700.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second, any other discussion? I would probably recommend you put in there what fund it's going to
To come,
Yeah.
to be taken out of the golf course and street.
Yeah. I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to number 15, the text alert system. We talked about it last meeting. I think we were just kind of looking into where we're going to pull the funds from. They checked into it. Looks like we can kind of take it from all the funds we don't have to, you know, specifically put it on this motion, but on Dave's end of it, he knows what to do, so would like to move forward with that. Or Dave, you have anything to add?
Questions, just kind of a refresher. You know, the big thing is Lonnie, any of the street or any of the department people within the city can send those alerts out, you know, whether it's a water, street, sewer issue. You can specify to certain addresses if we have a sewer line issue. Anybody downline from that, you can send that message out to those people. We're having sewer line issues at this address, and just to be notified. You know, they can text in questions or report potholes or, you know, things like that. The golf course can use it, and there's kind of an unlimited amount options on what you can do with this on the back end. You can set up specific groups on the administrative side for really whatever you would like to use it for. It's unlimited on how you can kind of group it out. So it's very user friendly. Locally, there's, you know, Harrisburg and Falkton are the two local communities that are using it. Falkton's a little bit closer in size-wise to us. I did not hear back from Falkton when I reached out to them late last week, but I did talk to a couple of the city office folks in Harrisburg and somebody from their public works department, and they absolutely love it. They wouldn't go back without it. Sign up is easy. It's just you text, you know, the 5-digit number to sign up for it, just like you would for any of the text services that you've seen.
If somebody doesn't have text and you send out a text, is there any way to send like a robocall?
I don't remember if they call.
You have a question, what was it again?
Like if somebody doesn't have text messages over population and you send out a text but their number is linked, would it send out like a robocall?
That's a good question for them.
Yeah, I don't remember if they covered that or not.
Yeah, we didn't ask that question.
I'm just curious, since we have so many older people, if we're actually gonna be getting a lot of people, or are we still missing a lot?
And I think, I mean, knowing a lot of the older generation that I know here in town, I would say a vast majority of them, they may not be able to use it very well, or they may not be as tech savvy, but they have that capability, and with the right education through, you know, all of us, and word of mouth, and getting it out to the, you know, their kids and stuff, I think we'd be able to get a majority of them signed up. But, you know, they can still call in to the city office or wherever, and help them out that way too.
If anything, they might still see the notification and just call the city office, what did that say or something?
Yeah.
Well, I know my mom is Woodley one, and when that alert came out during the snow, she got it on her phone. And they, so, like, she's 90, so.
Okay, my grandpa got it on his cell phone in 96. So.
Yeah. They took.
Granted, he wouldn't know how to open a text message, though, to be fair. That just pops right up, so he can't avoid it.
Also, does this price include the upgraded number of messages or whatnot that you?
So initially, the initial setup on page 3 of the proposal, the initial package starts out with 10,000 text messages per year.
Right.
And when Lonnie and I sat in on the first presentation with it, we thought, that's a ton of text messages. You know, we'll never go through that much. But if Lonnie sends one message out for a snow alert, every number that is signed up for city messages, if it's 400 or 900 or 2,000, that's one message that count, you know, every number that receives that message that gets it. So if you send a message to the city, that counts as a message.
Right.
So you can see where, you know, if you're diversifying it with all these different groups and everything, you probably will go through that, but that's the base entry level that they set everybody up with. And that's why, I believe on page...
Sorry, I'm asking because the motion says 2250, but we would actually need to add.
It would be the 2250, and then if we would go above that, then that would be an additional cost.
Gotcha.
Maybe we should amend that right now, so we can.
To just add it, yeah.
Up to X amount of dollars, yeah.
So it would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 2,800, correct?
Because I know when I did the librarian evaluation, she would be interested in it too. But could a text be kind of, or as a group, so if Lonnie sends one on the street, then underneath it could say, library closed? I mean, all in the same text.
And it's whatever, you know, he can, if he sends a text message out with a snow ordinance, you know, or a snow alert, and he can include on there, city offices and city library closed.
Closed.
It's still one message.
It'd still be one,
But you
wouldn't
can,
have to
you
send
can
3
include,
Yeah.
So how many additional is what I'm asking, did you guys discuss?
I don't know how many we go for, I honestly, I don't know.
Why
So,
don't we just do it up to 2,800, that would cover up to the full 100,000.
No, I think
Right.
Oh, you're right. 60,000. Per.
I would not know about that right now.
Yeah, let's
You
do
know, we
that.
can always read the email anyway.
Yeah.
Well, and I mentioned that's why I think it's really important that we get people's, we've got a number, we need the address so that we can narrow down, like a water issue, to just the people that need it. Instead of sending it to 800 people, we can send it to 10 people and not be wasting a ton of messages.
education and, you know, letting the public know what we need it for is gonna be key.
I'll make a motion to approve Text Mega proposal for the text alert system, in the amount of $2,800.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on. Executive session if needed.
If I could bring up one thing before we get out of here tonight. Chris, you heard that Core Main's presentation tonight, as far as the meters go?
Yeah.
How do you compare that with the one that we had originally from that outfit from where, Canton?
Right. I think it compares pretty good, especially if we go the
antenna route?
What's that?
If we go with the antenna route, the more.
Right. I think it works pretty good.
Well, the reason I ask you is because
I don't know what the
you
price
work with
are.
that end of it, so I just want your input.
Either way, it'd be compatible with our software.
It is, that's what I was gonna ask.
And we were gonna ask that, so I made it ahead of time.
And this is quite a bit cheaper than what the other outfit was, right? Do you remember?
It's less than half.
Yeah, because I was
I
gonna say,
believe-
that's pretty spendy out there.
Lonnie, do you know how many like outdated, like older than 20-year-old meters there are?
No. I think you're better off, well, so when they said if you get a black pen inside your house and touchpad, that's not 100% true because we have two different styles out there. So only the ones that say census on them are compatible with that system. So I think when the weather maybe gets nicer or however we want to do it, we should probably try to get an idea of that. But just because it has a census pad doesn't necessarily mean it's a census meter either. So
But he said it would still be compatible, even
it
if it
still should
wasn't,
read as long as that's a census pad on it. So I don't know if it's something when meters get read next time that we try to tally how many census pads we have. Just count the census pads and then minus the running counts.
Okay.
And then we'll have a good understanding.
Okay.
But since I've been here, I gotta say, we probably put 100 of those new census meters in at least. Somewhere in that neighborhood, and they were using them before I got here,
So a good chunk.
so a good chunk.
Anything else?
Well, I guess, like I said, just my concern is that we just decide which way we want to go. Make some decision on that soon.
But there is some money put away for that.
Yes.
Well, if there's, We don't need an executive session, we need a motion to adjourn the city council.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the council.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed, we adjourn at 8:15 PM.